Stoicism has the profound power to change the way we live and perceive our lives. The Stoics were the pioneering theorists of human emotions, teaching us how to develop emotional intelligence and build inner strength, thereby enhancing our ability to tackle life's challenges with clarity and wisdom. Their words have withstood the test of time, and today we'll share 12 lessons inspired by the works of the most prominent philosophers in history: Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius. These timeless lessons can illuminate the path to a more meaningful and fulfilling life. Now, before we dive into this incredible knowledge, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any life-changing content. Who was Epictetus? Epictetus was a man who was born a slave but died as one of the most influential masters of his era. However, he never considered himself a master. He was a philosopher, a Stoic philosopher, someone in pursuit of a very specific type of knowledge. This practical knowledge, once applied, helps us face and overcome the inevitable hardships of life. Through a combination of his own life experiences and the wisdom of his great mentor, a Stoic philosopher named Musonius Rufus, Epictetus acquired knowledge that drew people from hundreds of miles away just to listen to him, even if only for an hour or two. Parents from all walks of life, from the poorest to the richest and most powerful, even Emperor Hadrian, vied for the chance to sit at Epictetus's feet. Fortunately, there was a young man who regularly listened to Epictetus and decided to write down everything he said. Astonishingly, these notes have survived to this day and have been passed down to some of the greatest figures in history over the past 1,000 years. Even the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote in his diary expressing gratitude to the man who lent him a copy of Epictetus's works. It is well known that Theodore Roosevelt, one of the notable American presidents, carried a copy of Epictetus during his perilous expedition to the River of Doubt. Admiral James Stockdale kept Epictetus's teachings with him while leading fighter squadrons in combat in Vietnam, and relied on these teachings to survive 7 years as a prisoner of war. The list is endless, and after watching this video, you will understand why you will want to add your name to the list of those mentored by Epictetus, truly one of the wisest and most inspiring individuals in human history. First Stoic lesson: the dichotomy of control. The dichotomy of control involves dividing and distinguishing things into two categories: external things that we cannot control, and the choices we make regarding what we can control. Where will I find good and evil in me, in my choices? This single skill, Epictetus said, will change your life. The art of differentiating between what depends on us and what does not is crucial. For example, if a flight is delayed due to weather, no amount of yelling at an airline attendant or throwing a tantrum will clear the storm. No desire will make you taller or shorter or born in another country, no matter how hard you try. There are simply people who will not like you. The time we spend fighting these unchangeable realities is time not spent on things we can change. As Epictetus pointed out, the only thing we can control are the decisions we make, and the same holds true for you. Focus on clearly identifying which parts of your day are under your control and which are not. You will not only be happier, but you will also have a clear advantage over those who fail to realize they are wasting time on battles they cannot win. Second Stoic lesson: you decide how to react. You decide how to react. Epictetus taught that it is not events themselves that disturb people, but the judgments they make about them. Albert Ellis, one of the most influential figures in modern psychology, stated that this principle guided him in the development of cognitive behavioral therapy. Epictetus once said that the most crucial power we possess is our ability to choose our response to any situation. Something happens, and it's up to us to decide if it's unfair, bad, or a failure. When someone says something, it's our decision to deem it offensive or arrogant. Epictetus emphasized that if someone can provoke you, it means your mind is colluding with the provocation. Events are neutral. It's merely our opinion that tags them as offensive, and we always have the power to change this perspective. The third Stoic lesson is to remain humble. Epictetus warned against pride or vanity, asserting that it's impossible to learn what you think you already know. He was always on the lookout, with open eyes and ears, seeking opportunities to learn from everyone and everything. This attitude should accompany us daily, whether we are experts or novices. Every person we meet, every situation we encounter, every book we read or movie we watch is an opportunity to learn, to improve, to advance on the path of progress. One of Epictetus's favorite questions was, "Have you made progress?" We answer this by focusing on what we don't know, on what we can improve, rather than congratulating ourselves on our greatness. The fourth lesson involves using difficulties as opportunities. Epictetus noted that true character is revealed in hard times. Thus, when troubles arise, think of yourself as a fighter matched against a tough opponent. The goal, to become the best version of yourself. We can view challenges in many ways, as failures, injustices, or the end of the road. We might think, clearly this was not meant to be, or they don't want us to succeed. What's the point of trying? Alternatively, we can train ourselves to see them in a better light, as opportunities to learn about endurance, patience, resilience, and struggle, as chances to prove our worth, or as resistance that strengthens our muscles. Epictetus favored the latter view and became, in his time and ours, a symbol of the human capacity to overcome grim circumstances. He taught not merely to accept difficulties or resign to them, but to work with them, to make the most of them, to see them as opportunities, not obstacles, thereby transforming everything that happens to us into fuel for growth. We can become better and stronger through everything that happens to us. You will truly understand this, Epictetus said, when you realize it's pointless to break what is breakable. If you lose something, say your glass. You might wish for it. But the desire to break your glass only causes you suffering. You shouldn't expect the puzzle of your life to be completed in one day. Rather, you should enjoy the process of putting it together, always eager to find the next piece that fits. As Epictetus once said, if you are a slave to anything, be it wealth or a desire, escape from it. If something dominates you, renounce it. You are a free person, and nobody can hurt you or prevent you from doing what is right. In summary, Epictetus believed that the power of choice is the ultimate human power. By distinguishing between what is and isn't in our control, we can achieve peace of mind and wisdom. He also emphasized the importance of not being ruled by our judgments of events, but rather keeping an open mind and learning from all experiences. Moreover, he encouraged viewing difficulties as opportunities for growth and overcoming, rather than insurmountable obstacles. Remember, Epictetus's Stoicism focuses on self-discipline, self-control, and the pursuit of wisdom. His ideas continue to inspire many who seek a more meaningful and balanced life. What philosophy offers humanity? Seneca once pondered what philosophy offers humanity. Born at the dawn of the first millennium, a time rife with paranoia, violence, and political turmoil, Seneca was in desperate need of direction, much like we are today. He read extensively and eventually discovered a philosophical school known as Stoicism, founded in Greece a few centuries earlier. Through the works of the Stoics, Seneca found the guidance he sought on how to live a good life. He soon began writing letters and essays to family, friends, and promising youths, sharing the wisdom that transformed his life. These writings continue to guide those looking for clarity and direction in their own lives. Fifth Stoic lesson: stay grounded in reality. Seneca famously stated, "Nothing will ever please me, no matter how excellent or beneficial, if I must retain the knowledge of it myself." He believed that no good is truly enjoyable without friends to share it with. He highlighted that more things are likely to frighten us than to crush us. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Despite Seneca's life being filled with suffering, including chronic pulmonary disease and living under the reign of 5 increasingly disturbed and violent emperors, he was twice exiled and lost everything. Yet his advice was clear. The only things that should truly concern us are those that actually concern us. He pointed out that we spend so much time worrying about and imagining the future that it tortures us more than reality itself. Seneca argued that pain and suffering are inevitable, but what we must avoid is the phantoms of premonitions about what might or might not happen. Instead of suffering in our imaginations, we should focus on what is before us and stay in the present. 6th Stoic lesson: mental resilience. Excellence diminishes without an adversary, Seneca remarked, drawing an analogy between how fire tests gold and adversity tests the strength of men. We often prefer to live comfortably, minimizing inconveniences and not pushing ourselves to do what we dislike. We find what we enjoy, where we enjoy it, and never leave that comfort zone. But Seneca warned that this is a deadly trap. A person who has never been challenged and always gets what they want leads a tragically limited life. Consider your own life. What kind of difficulties do you impose on yourself daily? Imagine you are a boxer and on your first day in the ring you take a punch to the chin. It will hurt immensely, but by the 10th year of being a boxer, you won't be stopped by a punch. You'll be able to endure 12 rounds of being battered and come back the next day to train again. It's not that the punch has lost its force or that your opponents are weaker. Rather, the change has happened within your brain. You've toughened your mind over time. Your tolerance for physical and mental suffering will increase because your mind has learned that you can take much more than a punch. If you continue to persevere through any difficulty, you will reap the rewards of your resilience. Therefore, Seneca often said, if you've gone through life without an opponent, no one can know what you're capable of, not even you. He repeatedly emphasized the importance of adversity, not just in accepting the challenges life throws at us, but in actively seeking difficulties to make us stronger, better, and more prepared. He believed that every day we should challenge ourselves, make decisions that push us forward rather than keep us comfortable. When we face something difficult, we should be grateful for the opportunity to develop our potential. 7th Stoic lesson: the influence of those around us. Connect with those who will help you evolve. Associate with people who will make you a better person, and welcome those whom you can also improve. Seneca stressed the importance of carefully choosing our companions because the people around us influence our character. The often quoted saying from Jim Rohn is that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Rohn advises young writers and entrepreneurs to find a peer group that encourages them to improve. However, a saying from Seneca is perhaps even more poignant. Tell me with whom you associate, and I will tell you who you are. Seneca said that if there is anything we should be particularly careful about, it is the company we keep. We never return home with the same moral character we left with. He claimed that there is no person who does not imprint on us or stain us unconsciously. We must consider who we allow into our lives. We cannot afford to be afraid to cut ties with old environments or relationships when it becomes clear they no longer serve us. We should not fear approaching new people or trying to enter new and better social circles. There is too much at stake, as Seneca pointed out. Just as some diseases spread from those closest to us, the mind can become infected with the evils of those closest to us. 8th Stoic lesson: life is finite. This is our mistake, Seneca would say, to think that what awaits us is death. The majority of death has already passed. All the time that has gone by belongs to death. Like many philosophers, death was a common theme in Seneca's writings. He advised us to prepare our minds as if we were nearing the end of life. He advocated that we owe nothing, that we should make an account of life's chapters each day. For the one who gives the final touches to their life each day, time is never lacking. However, Seneca's greatest contribution to the theme of life's final act is that he realized death is not actually a final act. Seneca noted that death is not something that awaits us in an uncertain future. He recognized that we die every day. The time you spent watching this video has already passed, irretrievably lost. It's not that we have a short time to live, Seneca would say, but that we waste much of it. Therefore, we should do only one thing: live immediately. So if there is anything to take away from Seneca's writings, his wisdom, his philosophy, and his advice, it is this: go out and live now, while you can. Fortune is relentless. Do not wait. Seize it and live while you can. As for Marcus Aurelius, there was no one quite like him. The last of the 5 great emperors of Rome, Marcus Aurelius was a scholar of Stoicism, an ancient school of philosophy founded in Athens in the early 1st century BC. This philosophy is based on the belief that we do not control the world around us, only how we react to it. Marcus led a world that faced a pandemic lasting 15 years, along with civil unrest, border wars, cultural decay, income inequality, and much more. Therefore, it is easy to see why he was drawn to this philosophy. He likened himself to someone seeking relief for a rash or a burn, and Stoicism was his soothing balm, his warm lotion. That's why Marcus Aurelius sought to offer the world his only known work, Meditations, a completely unique and unparalleled document in history to pass down this balm, this guide, this medicine to future generations. As historian Brand would point out, few today are interested in the maneuvers and counter-maneuvers of Roman commanders. What the centuries have preserved is the notebook of thoughts from a man whose real life was largely unknown. He would jot down in the midnight dimness not the events of the day or the plans for the next, but something of much longer-lasting interest. The ideals and aspirations by which he lived, a common spirit. And this is precisely what Stoicism was designed to be. A medicine for the soul, alleviating the vulnerabilities of life and equipping us with what we need to thrive. The 9th Stoic lesson is to wake up and rise from bed. In those early mornings when it was hard to get out of bed, Marcus Aurelius would remind himself, I have to work as a human being. What do I have to complain about if I am to do what I was born to do, what I was brought into this world to do, or was I created to nestle under the covers and stay warm? One of the most interesting moments in Meditations is this discussion Marcus Aurelius has with himself at the beginning of the book. It's clearly a discussion he had many times on many mornings. Like many of us, he knew he had to get out of bed, but desperately wanted to stay under the warm sheets. It's easy to understand, but also quite remarkable. In fact, Marcus didn't need to leave the bed. Being emperor meant he didn't have to do anything. He could have slept in every day without immediate consequences. No one would cut his salary, and no one would question why he was late. Yet Marcus insisted on getting up early and starting to work. Why? As Dante wrote in his epic poem, "Under the covers there is no path to fame. Nothing can be achieved while shrunk under the sheets." Marcus knew that winning the morning was crucial to winning the day and being successful in life. He understood that being the most powerful man in the world did not exempt him from living according to nature. He was aware that his status meant nothing and that his obligations to himself demanded that he wake up. He recognized that staying in bed merely meant that he would have to catch up and that he had lost control and was now merely reacting. It's simple: if you want to be productive, achieve more, and be great, you need to wake up early. The 10th Stoic lesson is that the obstacle is the way. Our actions can be impeded, wrote Marcus Aurelius, but there can be no impediment to our intentions or dispositions, because we can adapt and adjust the mind to its own purposes. The obstacle becomes our path. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in our way becomes the way. One approach to life is to shy away from difficulties, to close your ears and eyes to what is unpleasant, opting for the easy path and avoiding challenges whenever possible. The Stoic path, however, is different. We can choose, we can train ourselves, and we can see difficulties as opportunities, as grains of sand for the mill, as a chance to learn about endurance, patience, resilience, and struggle. We can view them as an opportunity to demonstrate our worth, to learn about people, situations, actions, or things. Marcus Aurelius believed in this latter approach. He wrote about how fire transforms into flames everything that is thrown into it, suggesting that it's better to consider obstacles as fuel for the fire. It's not about passively accepting or resigning oneself to difficulties. Rather, it's about actively accepting them, deciding to benefit from them, and seeing them as opportunities rather than obstructions. Thus, we can transform our experiences into fuel. Everything that happens to us can make us better and brighter. We have the power to turn obstacles into pathways. This leads us to the 11th Stoic lesson about virtues. Stoic virtues, as Marcus Aurelius once penned during a challenging period of his life, are paramount. He wrote, "If at any point in your life you discover something greater than justice, honesty, self-control, and courage, embrace it wholeheartedly. It must be truly extraordinary." While Marcus Aurelius was writing his Meditations, Rome was invaded, triggering a war that lasted 5 years. During the same period, the Tiber River experienced one of its most severe floods, destroying homes and livestock, which led to famine in Rome. After the war, the returning soldiers brought back a deadly disease known as the Antonine Plague. Weakened by hunger and disease, numerous hostile tribes from the north seized the opportunity to unite and attack the Romans. Throughout the remainder of his reign, he concurrently faced the adversities of plague and war. However, Marcus Aurelius did not mention any of these dire events in his diary. Instead, he focused on the idea that no challenge or problem is too great to respond with the 4 Stoic virtues: courage, temperance, justice, and wisdom. He advocated for facing fears head-on, resisting our baser instincts, treating others with fairness, and keeping an eye on the bigger picture. He believed that everything he encountered was an opportunity to respond with these virtues, which simplified even the most complex situations. To him, the only thing that truly mattered was doing what is right. The rest was inconsequential. "Remember this principle," wrote Marcus Aurelius, "when something threatens to cause you pain. The thing itself is not a disaster. To endure it and prevail is a great fortune. The things we did not want to happen happened to everyone, including Marcus Aurelius, be it a business failure, the loss of a loved one, or someone important to us leaving us. Our instinct leads us to label these events as unfortunate because they are not what we wanted for ourselves. But does this make sense? Is it fortunate when we get what we want, and unfortunate when, for whatever reason, we do not?" Marcus Aurelius offers a different perspective. Instead of telling ourselves that we are unfortunate because our expectations were not met, he suggests we do the opposite. Consider it a stroke of luck that it happened, and that you have come out unscathed, not destroyed by the present, nor fearful of the future. It could have happened to anyone, but not everyone would have emerged unharmed. For a Stoic, we only suffer harm when our character is affected. We are truly damaged when we abandon what we believe in, or when we neglect our own standards. Losing money, a friend, failing at something, or being criticized might not be desirable, but how does that make us unfortunate? Our ability to respond remains intact. Our character stays unbroken. There is no rule that says you must go mad over it, be shattered by it, or be anxious about the future. You still maintain control. It is still you, and that is very fortunate indeed. Stoic lesson number 12, awareness of death. As Marcus Aurelius once asked, "Are you aware that you could lose your life right now?" Let this reality guide what you do, say, and think. Pierre Hadot referred to meditations as a collection of spiritual exercises, and no exercise was practiced more by Marcus than contemplating his own mortality. It might have been his health issues that heightened this awareness, or perhaps the early loss of his father. It could also have been the grief from losing 8 of his children, or maybe it was the Antonine Plague, which claimed between 10 and 18 million lives. Possibly it was his understanding and embracing of memento mori, an ancient practice of reflecting on mortality that dates back to Socrates, who stated that the true practice of philosophy is none other than to die and be dead. Many label the memento mori that Marcus Aurelius practiced as morbid or gloomy. Most people prefer to avoid thinking about death. It's unpleasant, frightening, and sad. Why would anyone dwell on something they never wished to happen? However, this might seem senseless, but the point is not to grow anxious over the few remaining days. Quite the opposite. It's meant to liberate and inspire. It's a key to happiness that opens the door to empowerment, gratitude, and generosity. It's about being fully present in each moment of every day. Memento mori serves as a reminder that keeps us focused on the present. Marcus Aurelius often pondered who, realizing they had only a few minutes left on earth, would choose to spend that time being unhappy, scared, or depressed. Our mortality isn't depressing, it's energizing. It diminishes the importance of the trivial, foolish, and pointless issues on which we waste so much energy, because in the light of death, few things are worth getting upset, stressed, or worried about. So keep reminding yourself, as Marcus did, that you could leave this life at any moment. Let this guide what you do, say, and think. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to share it with a friend who might benefit from it. Help us spread this timeless wisdom. If you want to delve deeper into these lessons, I recommend checking out our complete playlist on Stoicism that's appearing on your screen now. Thank you for watching.